to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
In answer to his question about the subjects,
there are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? They are homeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or really fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks today, tomorrow, and on Wednesday as well. So you have me for these 3 days, and we're going to have a pretty good show today. First off, I'm going to be welcoming Dr. Bob Robertson. He's the president of UCCI, and we'll be discussing the big changes in their upcoming commencement ceremony, which is this week. Followed by Dr. Bob from UCCI, we're going to be welcoming the Cayman AIDS Foundation. And then we might be talking to the RCIPS and get a little inside scoop about an upcoming community event they have, and to talk about some of the things that happened over the weekend. So with that, I'm going to throw it right back to the studio for a quick disclaimer and a commercial break, and then we'll get right into Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks this afternoon. And if you heard me right before a little break there, we've got a pretty packed show this afternoon. I'm happy to welcome to this segment of the show Dr. Bob Robertson, the president of UCCI. And Dr. Bob is here to talk about the big changes that are coming in store for this year's commencement ceremony, which takes place on Thursday. So welcome to Talk Today, Dr. Bob. And I believe you've been here a couple times before. But
correct.
Give us a refresher. Let us know a little bit about you. Sure. We know that you're president of UCCI, but give us some background info.
Sure. I've been here for about 9 months now. I came from the Bahamas. I'd worked in the Bahamas for almost 6.5 years as the president of a technical school in Nassau and with campuses on some of the different islands. Originally, I'm from Toronto, Canada, and currently my home is actually in Tampa, Florida. So I have a fairly eclectic itinerary, but I'm delighted to be here in the Cayman Islands. The experience at UCCEI has been everything and more than I expected, and we're looking forward to a great week this week with graduation ceremonies on Thursday.
Excellent. Now, I have to tell our listeners that during the break, right before the show started, Dr. Bob did say, well, you know, I am used to being on CBC. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. which is Canadian Broadcasting Channel. And that's a pretty huge network to be on regularly.
I was a city planner in Canada, so frequently I'd be on talking about urban development issues, transportation issues, and environmental issues. So we're pretty much weekly for probably 5 or 6 years.
Oh, so maybe you should be interviewing me instead.
I don't think so. No.
You're the pro here. All right. Well, welcome to Talk Today this afternoon, and let us know what the big changes are for UCCI for the
so
ceremony.
this is a busy week. We have about 250 graduates this year, which is almost a record, not quite. We have about 200 of those who will be walking on Thursday. Some are not for various reasons. They're in different places already, but so it's a pretty hectic schedule. In addition, we're welcoming to the island today, actually, our keynote speaker from Florida State University. His name is Dr. James Dever from Florida State's Entrepreneurial Center. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's owned very large number of businesses, primarily in Florida, but he'll be speaking tomorrow with a joint session with CEC about how to start a business. And then at the graduation ceremony, speaking to students about how to start a business as well, which is important for many of us. So we're delighted to welcome him to the graduation ceremony. In addition, we have a couple of other key things that are happening. We have HSA, Health City, I should say, is sponsoring the nursing graduation. It's the 10th year anniversary of our nursing program, and Health City has been a really solid partner to the nursing program. So they're going to be providing some assistance, scholarship on Thursday to one of the students, but also recognizing the 10 years of contributions to the Cayman economy, which is, I think, really important. Obviously, we're seeing an increase in health services in many countries, and Health City has been very positively attached to UCCEI for a number of years. So lots of things going on this week.
Well, we're introducing a big award, I understand, this Thursday.
Correct. So they have an award for a student who has contributed the most to nursing in particular, which is important. There's also a number of other awards that we'll talk about on Thursday. We have to have some drama with respect to these events, and so we have some other things as well.
You're only letting us know about the one new award that's coming.
The one important
so far.
award. There's a couple of other ones as well, and we also have some new programs that we'll be speaking about on Thursday as well. I think it's pretty clear that the Cayman Islands has some skill deficiencies in certain areas. You can see that from the government data, and we're increasingly moving to try to support increased skills in specific areas like IT, for example. I mean, the Cayman Islands is noted for having a 24/7, 365-day-a-year economy, supporting businesses around the world. And to do that, you need to know a lot about technical, systems, technical software. And so we've introduced a partnership with CompTIA, one of the biggest IT certification agencies in the world, and we'll be announcing a new program for individuals, not necessarily students. You could be coming back as an existing employee to take IT training to become CompTIA certified and therefore enter the global workforce with a skill which is very highly in demand.
You're going to dislike the fact that I'm going to ask you this next question, but I'm going to say about a handful of people that I know that went to university to get a degree in IT. All of those people say, you don't need to go to university for a degree, just get your certifications.
Correct. That's the point. So and I think that's one of the key things that a lot of schools are slow to adapt to. And so at UCCEI, we've recognized that, in fact, the best thing to do is to get both the academic credential and the certification. And increasingly, schools are starting to recognize that. So we're really going to aggressively go after that in the next year. And so all of the academic courses will have embedded certifications in them, whether they be City and Guilds, for example, on soft skills and tourism, IT, or skills like the trades. We just recently were recognized as a center for the National Center for Construction Education and Research, which is a U.S.-based credential, but it's recognized globally. And so previously in the Caribbean, if you wanted to be a carpenter, you could go to like a carpentry school and get a piece of paper that says you're a carpenter, but it meant nothing really. The NCCER is a standardized system, as I said, recognized everywhere. If you want to work on a Disney ship, for example, they're an NCCER shop. You can't work on that ship unless you have an NCCER credential. The other point of interest with respect to the trades is a lot of people here tell me that it's a transitory thing. A lot of construction, a lot of jobs, all of a sudden construction goes away, not so many jobs. That's really not true. In today's world, you have to maintain these big hotels that are going up, these big restaurants, the condominiums, and they have to be maintained properly from an insurance point of view, if nothing else. And so, you really have to have that credential. And so increasingly, we're seeing that credential, that skill, that certification is what's driving enrollments. So our enrollments are in the last 2 terms at record numbers, each of the last 2 terms, and that's what's driving it, is the certifications.
Okay, excellent. You have as you said before, in the Bahamas, you were there part of a technical school.
Correct.
So you have a huge background, I'm assuming, then.
Correct, on workforce readiness. Correct.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So is this one of the reasons that you were drawn out to UCCI? Because this is an area we're really trying to build in Cayman.
I think so, and everybody's trying to build it. I'm also actually a senior research fellow at the University of London, and that's the area of expertise that I'm doing with them. So it's not a paid position, but I do research with colleagues around the world on, what is the future of work? And it's not just getting an academic degree anymore, as you mentioned. It's actually getting a certification that's industry recognized. And so we're doing research in different parts of the world on that right now. In Vietnam and Southeastern Asia, for example, we just finished a survey of the Caribbean, so we have data from the Caribbean now.
What's it telling you? What is that future of work for us here in the Caribbean?
Well, it basically says that between 60 and almost 70% of employers are concerned about the quality of the workforce that they see coming to their door saying, I would like a job. Students are coming, or employees are coming to the job site who don't have the prerequisite skills, they don't have the soft skills, they don't have the IT skills, they don't have the regular training, so they either have to train them themselves or work with a college and the country that they're in to become globally competitive, because it is really a global environment. You won't see a company like Disney, for example, having a standard, say, at level 3 in the Cayman, but level 7 in the Bahamas. They have a level 7 or 8 or 9 across the region.
Right.
And so that global aspect is really critical. And some people just don't seem to fully appreciate that. But at UCCEI, I think we've turned the corner, and that's why our enrollments are up so quickly, and that's why they continue to be so strong.
I think you make a really good point. So when you say something might be really good and acceptable, but that's at a level 3 in Cayman, but elsewhere it's levels higher.
Correct.
So I do believe across the board in a lot of different industries, but especially just in your face-to-face, anything that's face-to-face and customer service oriented, I absolutely believe that we really do have to raise the bar and become more standardized, more internationally kind of accepted, and on that same level with everybody.
Precisely, yeah. And the certification is the way to get there. So we are a City and Guild Center, which is a UK designation, and so we have soft skills, for example, courses that provide you with that level of certification. So an employer can be comfortable having taken someone on that at least they have the baseline, right? And they may train them in their own, in their own way to some extent, but at least they have the baseline, which is really important for a country with an economy based on tourism and financial services, because there are competitors.
Right.
So the Cayman doesn't sit there on itself. It sits in a global environment, and so there are beaches in a lot of places. And it's pretty spectacular here, but to stay competitive, you have to have the right people in the system to make it work.
But there is a bit of a cost to that, right? For the
Correct.
Actual student or
Correct.
adult that might be going back into school.
Correct. But in the Cayman, we also have really strong support from the government. So the government has recognized the importance of these skills and provides a very generous scholarship package to students. And so, I tell young people, boy, you have a real opportunity here. You have a skills gap. It's no question, and it's not a disrespectful statement. It's pretty obvious that that's the case. But you also have a very supportive social network here through the Ministry of Education who will provide you with the scholarship to do it, to get those skills and to get employed. And so one of the catchphrases we use is learn a skill, earn a living. If you have a trade, a carpenter or an IT certification, you're going to be able to go out and earn a living. And we saw through COVID that a lot of people were laid off. But if you had a skill like that, you could work at home almost. Or you could, if you were a carpenter or a plumber, those people kept working through that environment. And so, because we all needed plumbing, we all needed electricians. And so they were fine.
It's true.
So I'm
going to hold you on that thought right there. We got to go to a commercial break. But when we return, we're going to continue on that train of thought, because there's a lot of good things you're saying that I think we should try to break down in understanding of people's behaviors and maybe why they're not approaching these certain avenues towards educating themselves and upskilling themselves. Right. All right. We'll go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with Dr. Bob Robertson of UCCI.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we're introducing the new Boneless Hot Sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Yo, big up Massive. Listen up, we got some good news for you. Digicel is bringing you the hottest deal in town. Send top up hassle-free to Jamaica with the My Digicel app. No fees for a limited time. Me people, it's pure love from Digicel. Send credit from the My Digicel app, any kiosk, or go to a Digicel store and show your loved ones in Jamaica you care. They will stay connected, chat, and stream without them fees. Spread the word. This is a big deal. Tell your mother, father, uncle, auntie, brother, sister, and friend. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Send top up to Jamaica today. Digicel, the ultimate connection.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit Digicel's website or contact customer support for more info.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk
today. Listening to the general public.
The Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Because
there are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman. Waiting to take your calls right now.
Talk today. What the public is saying.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks this afternoon. And on this segment of Talk Today, we have Dr. Bob Robertson. He is the president of UCCI. We did start off the conversation telling you what you can look forward to in the upcoming commencement ceremony this Thursday for UCCI. And then we got into a little bit about the educational aspects and a little bit more about the technical kind of components in Cayman and some certifications that are coming up for people that are interested in learning more IT-based studies, really. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Bogg, right before our break, when we were talking about people going to upskill to kind of learn the soft skills or get smaller certifications if they could have been in the workforce a long time, but they just need to level up, bring their standards up a little bit, right?
Right.
Best new practices, learning that kind of stuff as well. So we're not all born with this. We're not all born leaders. We're not all born with all this knowledge. We have to learn it somehow. And to be the best that we can in the role that we have, it's great to get whatever foundational knowledge there is for us to excel in our jobs. So you'll have a lot of people in administration jobs that are very used to doing things a certain way in Cayman, and perhaps they've never actually been trained properly in that role. So I know that you mentioned that, yes, the Ministry of Education does have the scholarships available for those who are looking to further their education. However, when it comes to these smaller certifications, not whole degree programs, but certifications or courses that's more about upskilling and uptraining, then how would those people be able to either afford to go into those courses being offered for them? A lot of people don't have that kind of money.
Right.
Unless you're with government, it's not necessarily, the civil service college isn't available for you.
Right. So just to presage that, it's important to recognize that 2023 has been called by the European Union the year of skills. So your point about upskilling is not just a Caymanian issue, it's an issue globally. And so what they're encouraging is companies to develop training plans to upgrade skills within their companies, which then makes the company more productive and more valuable. So there is an investment opportunity attached to that. But in the Cayman, we have had some discussions with the ministry about starting as early as this fall, providing assistance to those individuals who want to upskill, provided that it's related to a certification in IT, for example, or in the skills trades, for example. So we're currently embedding those types of certificates into what you would consider to be like academic programs. And I don't think there is clearly an academic program that's just academic anymore. Most schools are starting to embed some certifications into their programs, just to show employers that they see where the world is going. And so at UCCEI, I think we're probably a little bit ahead of the curve now in respect to doing that. And as a result, I'm pretty confident that enrollments will continue to grow over the next year or so.
Okay, excellent. The technical aspect being a big part of your history as well, in your professional history at least, and you're seeing that more develop in Cayman. From what you've experienced so far, the feedback that you've gotten, the gaps that you see, is there anything when it comes to the technical knowledge that we need to focus on more in Cayman? There's certain industries or areas that we need to really get on top of.
So I have worked around the Caribbean, and not only in the Bahamas, but I've done some work in the Turks and Caicos on a consulting basis. I've done some work in Haiti and the DR and other places. So one of the really positive things about the Cayman is the fact that the government actually produces regularly this work data that shows you the number of work permits that are out there in different places and specifies it. Other countries will talk about it, but they won't show you the data, and they don't keep it up to date. So it's very inappropriate to do that. So in the Cayman, they have the statistical data to show you where the skills gap is and how it's changing. That's really important. So the next step then, once you've got that data, is to have an institution that sees that and recognizes that that's a pointer. You need to follow that direction. And that's what we're doing at UCCI. So that's why the number one issue in the Cayman currently from a work permit point of view is in IT. Okay, well, let's do something about IT. Let's get those certifications in play. Talking to employers specifically, that's what they're asking for. So we carved a partnership with CompTIA and with Cisco, by the way. So you can, starting in the fall, a new digital certificate will be announced on Thursday, and it will be 5 courses. It's available part-time, blended, so you don't have to physically go to the school all the time. You can go if you want some support, but you don't have to go. And those 5 courses will yield 8 industry-recognized global certifications. So within a year, part-time, you can get that certificate. And as I said, it's an academic certificate from us, but more importantly, it has 8 industry-recognized certifications.
Excellent. So you just told us a little secret that you're going to keep that till Thursday, right?
I was going to keep that. So.
All right, here on Radio Cayman. All right. Thank you, Dr. Bob,
yes.
for sharing that with us. All right, going forward now. Well, going forward, but going back a little bit.
Yes.
I want to go back to the graduation ceremony or the commencement ceremony and the things that are involved there. The big award, the new award that Health City is offering is called the Health City Outstanding UCCI School of Nursing Alumni Award. Mm-hmm. As you mentioned earlier, this is 10 years of the Bachelor's of Nursing program at UCCI. I know a couple of ladies who graduated from that. Mm-hmm. So for this award, this is the first year for it. Is it going to a past student or a student that will be graduating this year?
It's a past student. I believe it's a person who has graduated and, just recognizes that over the 10 years there's been a lot of work to kind of build that program up and build that brand. We are looking at other ways to increase that, the whole healthcare, training basically at the kind of lower end. So a lot of nurses don't immediately go into a nursing program. They start out with like a licensed practical nurse or a certified nurse assistant type of thing, and then they go on to nursing. We don't currently offer that, but we're looking at that lower level entry position as a way into the nursing program, just as an example. So we do want to grow that program, and it's been successful to date, and it provides a really good component to the local economy.
Yeah, it has been great so far. So I know the students that went, it was really grueling on them.
Yes.
But it was a huge success and a relief once it was done, and they've both been working at HSA. They were working the whole time, even while they were finishing their degree at UCCI. They were still working there. So I hope it's going to one of the ladies that I know. But in regards to my personal favoritism here,
I can't share that one with you because that is a secret. Even I don't know it.
That's okay. I wouldn't ask you to reveal that. That would be a bad surprise. We let people know before the winner even knows. So the criteria for that, do you know what Health City was looking at, or if UCCI was also a part of choosing this? Can you tell us what that criteria was?
Yeah, it was mostly contribution to the nursing field generally, but over time. So not just come into the program and get good marks and pass and go into the field, but like what did you give back as a nurse over the course of your career? And so that's really important as well, because it is a growing field, and the younger students in particular always look to someone who's gone through it before, as kind of a model. And so we're really looking for someone who's had that level of kind of commitment to the field.
I think coming out of a pandemic, you're going to have more than a handful of nurses to choose from that have been a lot of healthcare professionals absolutely committed to serving the people really during that time.
And it's a growing field as well. I mean, a lot of nurses, partly because of COVID, are retiring earlier than expected, and and it's a growing industry sector here in the Cayman. So there is a demand for it. And the other thing of interest is we've recently signed a partnership with the University of Prince Edward Island, which has a good nursing school. Now, they've been working in the Cayman for some time, but they didn't recognize that UCCEI was even here. They were working with the hospital sector. And so now the nursing schools have now connected. And so there's an opportunity to do some things not only on a practical basis, but maybe in terms of research and things like that, which might be of benefit as well.
And nursing, it's a huge career. So
yeah, for sure.
I know a lot of us just look at things on how much money is it going to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
I know women who are traveling nurses that make, not even just women, I know a man as well, over $100K a year as a traveling nurse. So I'm sitting here like, Mom, maybe I should have followed your footsteps after all, but I did not.
Yeah, we live in an aging world, so as people age, they need more attention.
Absolutely, and Cayman is very much an aging society as well.
Indeed.
So we absolutely need that care.
Yeah.
We do. For Health City, I know you mentioned a little bit earlier that the partnership with them is very important between UCCI and Health City. Can you tell us some of the ways that the students have benefited from the support of Health City?
It's a number of different ways. So obviously the scholarship's one, but in addition, they provide a cash donation towards our STEM conference every year, which is a science-based conference that's held, I think, the first week in November, basically. But so that's a way to help that conference to come off. It's a big national conference. It brings in kids from high schools, for example, and shows them pathways to a healthcare, position or job. So they provide cash to that. They also provide positions and support. So there are times when someone will come in and be a speaker, for example, at a class. And again, that's helpful too, because one of the key things that I think universities need to do, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, sometimes universities think they're really just academics, but they have to also embrace the practitioner side. And so as a student, it's helpful to have somebody come in and say to you, okay, so this is what the textbook says, but this is how it works.
Right.
And so they've been really good about doing that, sharing time. So it's not just about money or, support per se, but it's sharing time with some of these students who really need that to supplement what they're learning out of the textbook.
I think as well, universities are traditionally known for more textbook learning than anything else. So it's just kind of what you're seeing and memorizing.
Yeah.
For me as a learner, I like to learn with my hands. I like to be in the field doing what I got to do.
Correct.
And that's not for everybody. We all learn differently.
Right.
We all have different ways of learning what's best for us, right? So I love the fact that yes, how the courses are delivered are going to change a little bit,
right.
A little bit more hands-on experience.
Yeah, and the other thing we talked about at the break, by the way, is one of the things we're going to focus on with the Ministry of Education's support and guidance is this dual enrollment. We really want high school students to see pathways to careers.
Okay.
So we're working more with high school students earlier to get them into trades or IT or healthcare, for example, rather than wait till they're just about finished and then say, oh, gee, what do I do now?
I think that's a great idea. Yes, internships are offered to high school students, but it is that pathway that is important because you see the finishing goal, you know what you want to get to, that end goal, and you're at the very, very beginning, but there's that whole journey in between that you could easily get lost on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you're navigating a way for students to better understand the process it will take in their future and what they have to go through to achieve that end goal, I think that's a brilliant thing to do.
Exactly.
I never got that kind of navigation when I was in high school, and I would have appreciated
nor did I.
it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably thought, oh, I don't know about this girl, but I surprised them.
Yes.
We got to go to our next commercial break, and when we return, we will continue our discussion with Dr. Bob Robertson of UCCI.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. Wow. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 2 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine, free pickup and delivery services available. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. Also ask about our in-house discounts. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good.
Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. That's 949-7104.
Are you planning your summer getaway? Say goodbye to those outrageous room and fees that can ruin your vacation. Introducing Digicel's Easy Room Plans. With Digicel, you can travel easy and enjoy your trip worry-free. Our Easy Room Plans now come with double the data for US and Caribbean destinations. You can stay connected and share those special moments without breaking the bank. So, why you stress about your bill when you can travel easy? Don't wait. Visit your nearest Digicel store today and make the switch.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and I realize I have been forgetting to give you the phone numbers to call. So hopefully all of these numbers are in working order, and Paul will either shake his head and say no, they're not if I get them wrong, but 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp message us at 925-3261. So if you have any questions, you can get them in. I'm discussing UCCI's commencement ceremony with Dr. Bob Robertson and a couple of other things education-wise that has to do with the Cayman Islands. And Dr. Bob has been with us a couple times, so we're hearing a little bit more about his experience, which he has so much of it in so many different kind of areas. So I think you're a wealth of knowledge, Dr. Bob, and to bring this experience to Cayman as well and to share it with people, I think is going to be a great thing. We were talking a little bit about Health City's relationship with UCCI and how the students are benefiting from that relationship. Sometimes people don't always see how the students benefit, which is why I did ask that question. And we did discuss the very, very beginning of the show who your guest speaker is for the commencement ceremony. And you had mentioned Dr. James Dever, who's now what I read about him was that at 41, he retired. I'm past 41, so I'm sitting there like, maybe I need to go and listen to Dr. Dave or Dr. James Dever and hear what he has to say. But he's also a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
And I think what's really important to note that although he retired at 41, whatever success got him there, he was able to. That wasn't it for him. He wasn't, I'm just going to enjoy life and, keep my head in the sand. Which is fine if that's what you want to do, but he's about lifelong learning. And he returned to university.
He did.
To finish his degree, which he started in the 60s, but in his 40s? Was it his 40s? Or maybe he was 50 when he finished his actual
PhD,
degree.
correct, yeah.
So to me, that's pretty inspirational. I started my degree later in my 30s. And I know a lot of people are, it's too late. What's the point? But it's, again, that kind of best practices. And for me, it's also my stock went up. So whatever I can do to improve myself in knowledge, whether it's degrees, certifications, I just look at it as my stock went up because I can have all the experience, but then I also have this to put beside that experience.
Right.
And I think it's important for people to understand that because when you are applying for jobs, I could have all that experience, a great portfolio, outstanding things about me, but I don't have necessarily the education background or the certifications that the employer is requiring.
Right.
Guess what? There's 200 other people like me
Yes.
who have the experience, outstanding portfolio, but also have the other credentials.
Correct.
And I think it's important for people to know that you can still go back to school and learn or take courses and upskill. And there's almost I can't do that whether I'm in midlife or not. What would you say to that?
Well, for example, in Jim's case, his dad passed away when he was 11, and so he became the bread earner for his family, and so he started businesses when he was 11, so he worked from 11 to 41, so he had a 30-year career, basically, and he owned hotels, restaurants, trucking companies, a variety of different businesses in Florida, and because his dad passed away when he was 41, he had told his wife when he got married, when I get to 41, I'm going to quit. Because my dad passed away when he was 41 and I want some time to enjoy life, or perhaps he was a bit older than that, but about the same thing. So that's what kind of drove him to that timeline.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting. But he's got a very interesting style to his approach to it, and worked hard, obviously, to get his doctorate degree. I first met him overseas when he came to a school where I was the dean of business, and he was teaching, and he came to me one day and said, geez, I really like this teaching thing, but I probably can't teach back in the States because I don't have a doctorate degree. What do you think I should do? And I said, well, Jim, why don't you just go and get a doctorate degree? And son of a gun, he did. He just put his mind to it, and he finished it in 3 years, and now he's the head of the Entrepreneurial Center at Florida State University, helping kids to start businesses, many of which are extremely successful. So the kids love him because he helps them with business plans. And so you don't have to work for somebody. You can work for yourself if you have the right plan related to it. So it is about lifelong learning. And the other point I wanted to share with you is I had a student a few years ago who was an MBA student who completed his degree when he was 93. And when the students were talking to him in class, it was apparent he wasn't really good with technology. And they said to him, well, why are you doing this course? You owned businesses from what you said, and but you're not great at technology. And he told them this story, which I think is a really important one. He said he went to his grandchildren, 2 girls, and he said to them, what do you girls want to be when you grow up? And they said, Grandpa, we want to be just like you. You have a nice car, a nice holiday schedule, a nice house, and we want to be just like you. And he said to the girls, well, girls, you're going to have to go to school and, really work hard. And he go, no, Grandpa, we want to be just like you. You never went to school. And sure enough, he had not. And so he said, wow, if I'm going to tell these girls to go to school, I got to do something about it. So he went back and got his bachelor's degree and then did his master's degree. And so it was probably about maybe 9 or 10 years ago now. I went to the graduation, and I had seen him before, obviously, but the children were there, the grandchildren. They were a bit older at the time. But what an incredible story that he went back to school for them, because he was retired. He didn't need the degree at that point.
Absolutely. Well, he was true to his word.
Absolutely, yeah.
So a lot of people give you advice and they haven't actually done on that advice that they're giving.
Yeah, you can't tell your kids to do it if you're not prepared to do something about it yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and he did it. So what about his grandchildren? Do you know if they ended up going to university?
I don't know. I think they're probably just finishing high school at this point. I don't know if they're going on to university at this point or not. But I mean, what a statement piece to have them say something like that and then have him do something about it.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
and 93, you said?
He was 93 when he graduated with his MBA. Yeah.
Wow, it's never too late.
Yeah.
And you can always go back. And people...
Yeah. And by the way, he drove to the graduation in a brand new Bentley, which is about a $500,000 car. So he had...
That wasn't rented.
No, he had all the success trappings that you would anticipate. And so, he didn't need that degree for sure.
I think it's brilliant that he rolled up to his graduation in a Bentley
Correct.
at 93. I
was a bit surprised.
I love it.
But yeah.
I mean, that's the way to do it. Why not?
Yeah.
He earned that all. So might as well enjoy all of his earnings,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Right? So Dr. Dave will be giving why do I keep calling him Dr. Dave? Dr. James Deaver, my bad, will be giving the big graduation speech really to everybody.
Correct.
And Cayman is also a very entrepreneurial place.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've met so many Caymanians, so many people who live here that are entrepreneurs, or it's where they want to go. It's generational within their family, whatever it is, right? So we're hoping that his speech to them is going to be very inspirational as well. But do you see a lot of the students you see graduating from UCCI in this year? Do you see a lot of them with that entrepreneurial hat that just might take that risk and start a business out here in Cayman?
Some, but I think the younger generation in particular, and it's not just the Caribbean but other places, have a sense that they want to finish their degree and get a job with the government, which is not a good idea. Governments, because of COVID, are pretty stressed financially, and they're not going to be growing a lot over the next few years. At least my opinion is they won't be. And so one of the options is to work for a private company or think about starting your own business. It's just as an option. And by the way, Jim will speak tomorrow night at a joint session we have with CEC. So he's available as well, and that's on our website if anyone is interested. I think we have about 50 people signed up for that. But at least for students, as you mentioned earlier, everybody's different, right? So, I mean, what might be good for you is not good for somebody else in terms of learning style or career opportunities. And so it's helpful to keep your doors open. Think about what it would take to start a business and what the pros and cons of that are. And that's kind of what Dr. Dever will speak about over the next couple of days while he's here.
Okay, excellent. I might have to come and check him out with the CEC talk that's happening tomorrow, you said as well.
Yeah.
I love that Cayman Enterprise City is also very supportive of entrepreneurs, and it's a great program that they have going on with supporting entrepreneurs and people who are trying to have a small business. So I love it. So this Thursday, 29th of June, is UCCI's commencement ceremony. Do you have to be invited to come? Anybody can just show?
No, it's open. It's at the hall, so there's lots of room. And then actually on Friday in the morning we have a Resembid breakfast with employers. Resembid is our energy management major grant that we received from the European Union. So that's why I was saying to you earlier, we have a very busy week.
Yeah, you do.
So we're expecting almost 120 people at the Resembid breakfast at the Yacht Club on a Friday morning, looking at linking individual students with businesses and making sure that they have an opportunity to practice some of the skills that they've been learning in their coursework.
Oh, actually, we'd love to hear more about that because that sounds very interesting and something pretty newsworthy for Cayman to know about as well. And I think we're almost at our 1 p.m. headline news. So if there's anything that you would like to let our listeners know, let's wrap up our segment of the show here and let them know what they've got to know about.
I think
specifically the graduation ceremony.
Sure, and I think that's the key thing. That's the signature event in the year for any university. Yes. I think the university has really picked up on some new trends, certificates that we talked about, and you can see that people are voting with their feet. There's more enrollments than we've had previously. Students are interested. There's new program and options coming available to them in the fall, and I think we're looking at a pretty bright future for the next few months and years at UCCI.
Okay, excellent. And we did hear about the breaking news that you kind of gave us today, then we're supposed to wait till Thursday.
Yes.
So if you want to hear what that news is, I guess you'll have to be staying in tune to our news, and I'm sure one of our news editors are going to pick up that story for you later today. We got to go to our 1 p.m. headlines, and then after that, I will be speaking with CEO of the Cayman AIDS Foundation, Noel Cayasso-Smith, who will be joined by Dr. Chantel Basson, I hope I said the last name right, Senior Clinical Psychologist at Aspire Therapeutic Training.
the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. A policy renewal enhancement at CG Bridkay is enabling clients to support the work of local charities. The company's newly launched Renew, Save, Donate campaign provides clients who renew their policies online with a discount value they can either keep or donate to a local charity. In international news, a U.S. woman has been charged with murder after shooting an Uber driver she thought was kidnapping her, police say. According to police in the border city of El Paso, Texas, Phoebe Copes believed she was being taken into Mexico. She then shot her driver, the authorities said in a statement. The 52-year-old died in hospital after several days on life support. As she was in the car, Copes saw traffic signs that read Juarez, Mexico, according to police documents. The two cities lie side by side on either side of the U.S.-Mexico border. An airport employee has died after being sucked into a passenger plane engine in Texas. The worker was ingested into the engine of a Delta plane that was taxiing towards its gate with one engine turned on, officials said. The worker's employers say an initial investigation shows the incident was unrelated to safety procedures, but it is not yet clear how it happened. An investigation is also being carried out by a government agency. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Health Services Authority is now offering online payment options for patients. Patients of HSA can now pay their bills, including deposits, towards scheduled services online at payments.hsa.ky. The secure, new online payment system accepts debit or credit cards and is in addition to the available payment options of cash, check, and online bank transfer. For quick, easy, and secure payment directly from your phone or computer, visit HSA's new online payment system at payments.hsa.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts was born at Cotton Tree Bay in Cayman-Brac on 15th October 1916 to James Nathaniel Tibbetts and Elsie Huldah Tibbetts, knee hunter. His father, uncles, and paternal grandfather were highly respected in the island of Cayman-Brac for their skill in carpentry and shipbuilding. In addition to this, his maternal grandfather was a master mariner. Coming from a family of carpenters and seamen and living near the family shipyard, he was involved in the shipbuilding trade from his early childhood. As a young student, he attended school at Cotton Tree Bay under the tutelage of Robert Mr. Bert Foster until Standard 6. And in 1928, at the age of 12, he learned to drive a car. This was part one of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks this afternoon. And on this segment of Talk Today, I am welcoming from the Cayman AIDS Foundation, we have CEO Noel Cayasso Smith. And also joining Noel is Dr. Chantal Basson, senior clinical psychologist at Aspire Therapeutic Training, and who's also here on behalf of the Alex Panton Foundation. So good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. We're good. I'm good.
Thank you. Excellent. So to start this part of our conversation off, well, first I have to tell listeners, because I keep forgetting to give our phone numbers out. If you want to call and you have a comment or a question about our particular topic, please give us a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp us or WhatsApp call us at 925-3261. Okay? So we got those numbers. Now, here we go. All right. The last figure that I saw on the Cayman AIDS Foundation website, which is just caf.ky, I believe, there was a comparative survey on HIV and AIDS transmission, and that report was published December 2017. There was a question on there that asks the person responding to the survey. It asks if you agree with the public needing to be more educated about the dangers of HIV and AIDS. 98.4% responded yes.
Yes.
Yet, if we're looking at this survey, your average number of people that even answered your questions was about 63.
Yes.
So that's a very small amount of people actually wanting to answer a survey, which wasn't very invasive at all about somebody's personal health conditions at all.
Well,
so just how they feel, what they know about HIV and AIDS. So
I've been doing this for a while.
It's hard to reach the community. So
Yes.
why do you think it's that small?
I think a lot of it to do with stigma, discrimination and stuff, which inclines fall back on why people don't want to get tested because they're scared of the lashback from the community. HIV and AIDS is one of the things where no one wants to talk about. As much as we have posted out awareness and host different things, the turnout and support is really small. I'll draw reference to our volunteers, for instance. 68 volunteers we had at one go. Half of those came in and asked, what is the names of the persons HIV positive? We want to go out in the community and help them. And I'm like, we can't disclose that. It's private, for confidentiality reasons. So that lot disappeared. The second lot, after a few weeks, came up and said, you know what, Mr. Smith, we really like to volunteer, but since volunteering here, everybody says we have HIV and AIDS, so therefore I have a family, we can't volunteer anymore. I understand where they're coming from, because plenty of times I'll go somewhere and people say, oh, there's an AIDS guy. Or you have so much passion for the Cayman AIDS Foundation, you must be HIV positive.
How does that make you feel?
Me personally, it doesn't bother me.
Now at this point?
At this point, it doesn't bother me.
But did it at one time?
At one time, it really did. And I used to lash back. But I just don't pay it any mind anymore. I've gotten to the point where, for me personally, if I became HIV positive, if I feel like sharing it on the radio, I would. Because at the end of the day, it's no one's business. It's mine.
Right.
I am the one that has to deal with this. And all people are asking for is support. And knowledge is key. And understanding, and if you don't understand something, you're inclined to lash out at people about it. So here we are trying to educate people on this subject, but they just refuse to be a part of it. So we got to find a way that we can pull them in to say, look, don't wait until someone in your family or you becomes positive for you to want to get information on this sort of stuff.
Right. Dr. Basson, what do you think about that? Stigma is specifically here.
I think the stigma is huge. So we can think about HIV and AIDS as any other chronic health condition. It comes with a massive adjustment period, which often depends on how our loved ones and families respond to us, as well as how the news is broken to us by professionals. With HIV and AIDS, it comes with more stigma than most chronic health conditions, and that impacts people on going through the lifespan. So where it usually strips us off our feeling of acceptance, belonging and connection with those around us, with our communities, maybe with the church, with the people that we love, with the people who supported us previously. And that will always then have an impact on somebody's mental health status. And anything that impacts somebody's mental health status then needs other people, allies, to stand up and say, we're with you, and you can come and talk to me, or I won't treat you in that way, or we won't treat you in that way. They absolutely need places where there is acceptance, belonging and connection, and where stigma is reduced. And we need an awful lot of education around that across the world, ultimately about HIV and AIDS.
What does support look like?
Support looks like acceptance, belonging and connection. That might not be everywhere, but if we have pockets where we feel accepted, where we belong, where we feel like we can be our authentic selves, that will always improve our mental health. So from a psychological perspective, that's what support looks like, that we need somewhere where we can belong.
It is a little, we used to have a support group.
Used to.
2 persons pretty much was a part of that group. When we approach other persons and ask them if they wanted to join the group, the first thing they would say, I don't want anyone to know that I'm HIV positive, even though the other people in the room themselves were positive themselves. So it's pretty difficult, in mindsets of people, that it's okay to attend these things. And we need to find a way that we can encourage people, to come to these support groups, because it helps. And people sharing stories, and basically, if you need additional information and stuff, don't ever be afraid to reach out. People are under the assumptions that when we have free testing and stuff, they don't want to come to the AIDS Foundation, because they feel if they come to the AIDS Foundation to be tested, automatically from they pull the door and someone sees them, they think that they're HIV positive. So it's all about, their perception in the community, and somehow we need to get past that.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Dr. Passon.
What we're ultimately talking about there is a sense of people having shame. And that is one of the biggest impacts on mental health, and often comes from trauma. So we can think about being diagnosed with a chronic health condition like HIV and AIDS as a traumatic experience, and not just a one-off event, but continually traumatic based on people's responses and different life events we go on to have thereafter. And one of the things that we need to do is reduce the shame, and we can reduce shame by members of the community who are not HIV positive, or members of the LGBTQ community standing up and saying, I support you, I'm an ally. And having allies from a different, wide-ranging aspect of the community is one of the major ways that we can help support people on this island.
I think it's particularly hard for the LGBTQ plus community to stand up, because they are so hated in this country. That might be a harsh word, sorry, but it's pretty direct. It is getting better slightly.
Yeah. I got to come back on your show on that one, because I'm the one that puts Pride on every year. So it's but I understand where you're coming from for that.
But then look who's supporting that. A lot of the people that's supporting that, right? Yes. So it will be it'll be straight people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting to me, because I'm like, okay, so if we're seeing that support there, why aren't we seeing it when it comes to
HIV and AIDS?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's difficult.
Or other diseases.
But to be honest with you, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but it is what it is. I think, because I've spoken to a few people, like for instance, December 1st is World AIDS Day internationally. If you go back and draw reference to the compass, I was the only person sitting there with my arms like this, getting tested, saying, know your status, get tested. Everybody was asking, where's the health minister? Ooh. It should come from above and trickle down. And for such a big event for HIV AIDS, trying to cut down on HIV numbers and stuff, I think that it would have shown more of an impact if they were involved. And it's not only present, this has been for years. I have personally written a few years back asking for our health minister to join us, and for taking photos and stuff. It doesn't matter to me whether they get tested or not, but at least just present. And it's like crickets, so if they
that
not,
being the previous health minister and the current health minister. Okay, we're both ministers right now.
Yeah, I mean, I looked and I didn't see anything. I mean, they all the stuff came through the HSA, which was fine. They are on top of this when it comes to giving free HIV testing and stuff and putting press releases and stuff up. But I think we need to work together on huge days like that to show that the entire government is behind the testing and support and that sort of thing.
Well, they were there for the pandemic, for the vaccines. So many of them were front and ready for, let's take those photos, let's put that video out of me getting the jab for the vaccine.
There we go.
I think what can be really hard from this
you are right. Sorry to interrupt you, but you are right, because it is the leadership, and things have to trickle down from the leadership. And if your leaders aren't showing that as an example, then
why should the community care?
Yeah. So I completely understand where you're coming from, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Bassan.
No, it's absolutely fine. I think you're absolutely right. What it makes me think about is it can be really hard to understand your power as a person who is not part of a particular community where there are protected characteristics or where there is particular stigma. Understanding your position as an ally is a very, very important part of being in a leadership position, and the power that you can bring to a cause or a difficulty like HIV and AIDS is absolutely enormous. And we see that with pride when the Premier stands up,
yes.
when the
governor,
the deputy governor was there last year. They were being allies, and the power that brings to a situation is incredible, and the good that does is enormous. It's almost incalculable.
We do have one phone call on the line, so if we could just take a moment, if you want to pop your headphones on right there, and then we'll take the caller. And good afternoon. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
Okay.
All right. Do you want to share some thoughts, or do you have a question for our panel here about HIV and AIDS in the Cayman Islands?
No, I heard you mention earlier the LGBT people.
Yes.
Are hated in this country. It's not that the people themselves are hated, it's their actions.
What are their actions?
What they choose to do.
So, which is
same-sex couples.
Which is in private, in their, which isn't illegal because it's two actions between two consenting adults, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's our heritage. This is something that we never promoted in the Cayman Islands. And being a British overseas territory, it's like they're trying to force us to do things that are against our religion.
Being gay is not a cultural aspect.
Britain isn't forcing anything on us at all.
Yeah, because you all say it's legal indoors, right?
No, I'm saying what they're doing, this is an act of intimacy. You're talking about their actions, right? So I said what actions, and you know what they're doing behind closed doors. So this is acts of intimacy, and they're consenting adults. So what they do is acts of intimacy behind closed doors. What anybody does as a consenting adult, acts of intimacy, is their business.
Okay, so what about individuals who choose to smoke marijuana indoors? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a whole different...
I'm not even going there.
That's a whole different conversation, sir.
Why is it a whole different conversation?
It's a whole different subject matter. That we're keeping this to... I know that you're a strong advocate for legalizing marijuana. And
no, it's not,
there's some things I absolutely agree with that. But that's not what this topic is about. So if you can make a parallel argument as to why your argument fits this topic, go ahead.
Okay, well, let's just give you an example, okay? All right. Same-sex couples, once it's indoors and in privacy, is legal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And, for example, now, if a police officer goes to a person's apartment, there's a same-sex couple in there doing what they please. And an officer finds them doing these things. He can't do them nothing, you know. He goes next door now, and he sees a guy there sitting there watching the news, smoking a spliff of weed.
Well, I think the easiest...
He grabs him, he takes him to jail and locks him up.
Because it's illegal.
Yeah, that's the simplest answer. It's illegal.
It's
Smoking,
illegal.
Consuming marijuana in this country is still, unfortunately, very illegal. So
It's illegal, but
That's
in the
that.
eyes of God, same-sex couples is 1,000 million times worse.
Okay, well, not everybody believes in God, so thank you so much, caller, for your input. We appreciate you. All right, so that was an interesting comparison.
Not really.
But doesn't necessarily fit the...
anything at all. Because, I
you
mean,
know where we're going.
You know, same-sex marriages is now legal. I'm married. I'm happy. To me, that's my business, what I do.
Right.
You know, it's the police comes to my house and me and my partner's there. What they're going to do is nothing because it's legal.
Right.
If they came there and I was smoking marijuana, it wouldn't matter whether I was gay, straight, or any indifference. I would go to jail because I'm breaking the law. Simple.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. So I hope that we've answered the caller's somewhat question in that fashion, but let's move on. Let's move on from that.
Well, I want to talk about our numbers.
Yes.
Here in the Cayman Islands. I just got the most recent update in June here from the HSA. According to what I was given here. Now it says from 1985 till March 2023, 193 people has been known to be HIV positive in the Cayman Islands.
So repeat that.
So 195. From 1985 till March 2023, the numbers are 195.
Okay.
Males 122 was found to be positive, and females 73.
Okay.
Now, I don't believe that number is correct. That's only the amount of people that has been processed through the HSA. That they have known to have HIV and AIDS. How many people out there that hasn't been tested? How many people have gone overseas to do testing and became positive and don't know? Yes, we all know that HSA is the only person that you can require HIV medication from on the island, and you have to be registered with them.
Just HSA?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So, the thing is, this is why testing is so important to us. Now, as of March 2023, there are 75 persons known to be living on island with HIV.
Okay, so currently
75.
75 in
yes.
all three islands.
All
here.
three islands. 19 people out of the 75. They're saying that people living with HIV is 19. They have 7 persons they have lost to follow up and unable to contact, which I did send an email today asking what grounds or what steps has the HSA taken in order to assure that these people can be found, because if they're not on medication, they're HIV positive. If they are in fact Caymanians or living on the island, which means they're not on meds, they're going to turn from HIV to AIDS. And do we know if they're practicing safe sex? I haven't got a response back.
And we don't want it to go to AIDS.
No, we don't.
Because it doesn't have to. You can live with HIV.
Yes.
It doesn't have to go to full-blown AIDS, which is why if you can get your help, get it.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, people need to understand that the HSA can only do so much.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They can't come and physically tear you from your home and cuff you to a bed and administer medication to you. You have to do the legwork as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it's very, very important for you to stick to your medication to become undetectable, because that helps. You can live a long life if you be on your medications, and practice safe sex at all times. I mean, there's a thing that's going around at the moment saying, we only have sex with expatriates because they're tested for work permits. But what people don't understand, and I get this told to me all the time at lectures, and I'm saying, I can get tested today and bring a piece of paper and say I'm negative.
Right.
But tomorrow or the day after, this piece of paper isn't really valid anymore.
Right.
So at the end, if you don't know a person, I'm not saying you don't have sex because it's just part of us, you know. But if you're inclined to have sex, then you have to learn to protect yourself.
I want to bring up another important statistic, although it's from 2017.
Sure.
I have no doubt that this number is still quite the same, if not has grown. So there's a question on that survey that you had asked saying do you have unprotected sex? That's the question. 43% said they do not, while 33% do use protection. So yes, I use protection, or no, I don't. Then there's your in-between answers. Well, I use protection if it's somebody other than my partner or the person I'm committed to. So maybe there's a bunch of open relationships out there. I don't know. But what it's saying to me is out of the 33% out of the 43% that do not use protection, they have more than one partner.
Yes.
Because they're not using it with their partner, per se, but there's somebody else out there. And they're engaging in other sexual activities, and there's STIs and STDs that also just don't go away.
Yeah. But they don't get it. They don't. This is a thing that I don't understand, and it's like, as much as you preach to them about getting an STI, about getting HIV, they still, you know, go and have unprotected sex. A lot of times, alcohol has a lot to do with the way people behave.
Absolutely.
So true.
But yes, people get drunk, and when they come to you at times and says, you know, I think I was compromised. Can you help me get an appointment to get tested and whatever? Which I am grateful that they reach out and say, you know, I did something and I think I was compromised. But you need to learn as well that unless you're in a committed relationship, and sometimes not even then, you can be sure.
Yeah.
You know, you need to protect yourself. You have to stand responsibility for your safety, your well-being, your health. You know, so...
This is a society that I have experienced here. There's a lot more men on this island there than women. And there's not a lot of great selection. Maybe for men too when it comes to choosing women, but there's not a lot of great selection, I'm going to say, from a woman's point of view, for the men that are out there and available. And
there's
a lot
of
the time,
bisexual men here as well.
There is.
As much as people doesn't want to admit it, they are. And a lot of them are on what we call the DL.
Yes.
So
undercover.
Yes. So therefore, they're the ones that need to ensure that they are practicing safe sex, because they're between both.
But looking at these things, it's a reason why people are engaging in sexual habits that aren't necessarily fulfilling to them. So you'll find a lot of people in casual sex engagements while that person they're engaged with has a full-blown relationship or marriage or whatever it is. That's very rampant in this island, hugely rampant. Yeah. I mean, so we have to be very careful about protection.
We can go on this subject for a while, because I mean, we're now working on things where it brings into like wellness and especially low self-esteem and different things. And for people that I've spoken to and I've dealt with, I found that a lot of us that go into relationships don't take the time to sit down and talk about what they will tolerate, what they will not tolerate, what they're looking for sexually. And like you said, they end up getting a relationship with someone, and then they find out that maybe things that they want to do sexually isn't what their partner is into, and then it's too late because they're already committed, they may be married, and these things. I know it's difficult questions to ask these things, but I prefer to ask them up front and let me have the opportunity to say, well, you know, it's been really, really great. I think that we're not compatible this way, and move on than to be in a relationship and you're going to end up going out there cheating or ask for an open relationship. This is where a problem begins.
I agree. Communication is a killer for people when it should be a lifesaver.
We also need to think, I think, more on that self-esteem issue. And if people become diagnosed with a stigma-inducing chronic health condition like HIV or AIDS, they're much more likely to develop depression. And when we have depression or anxiety that goes along with that, we may be less regulated. We may care less about ourselves and look after ourselves less. And that is going to then lead us to take risk-taking behaviours that we may not otherwise have done. And I think we really have to think about that when we lose people, to follow up. How are they actually feeling about themselves in this moment? I mean, there may be a whole other raft of reasons why, but it's really important, I think, to think about that mental health aspect of how people look after themselves.
Because it gets to, what do I matter anymore? Nothing really matters. What I do doesn't matter. And you just, you lose sense of self and sense of everything, and that nobody wants to get to that position.
You have
we
to
do
love-
have a
Oh, go ahead.
phone call.
Go
We
ahead.
have a phone call. Can we take the call? Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Kathy, and good afternoon to your guests as well.
Good. How are you?
Good afternoon.
I'm fine, thanks. Interesting discussion, of course, sometimes controversial, but always interesting and useful to bring things out so that people can discuss them. Just so that I'm not misunderstood in terms of what I'm about to say, I'm not for or against gay marriage. I just believe that those people who want to advocate for it, I'm all right with that. Those people who've got a different view, I'm okay with it. I'm just very neutral about it. But I just thought I should go back to the call made by somebody a few minutes ago. That's the one who was talking about a comparison between marijuana
And living with HIV or engaging in
Bad sexual choices.
Yes.
Yeah, sexual choices, that kind of thing. Now, I think that the argument probably got lost in the issue about, because he's clearly against gay marriage, and I think he ended up perhaps not being better able to articulate what I think is the valid point he was trying to make. Because the way I understood him was that he was saying, look, if people are allowed to engage in intimacy of the kind that we're talking about in the privacy of their own home, then why can't I also be free to engage in smoking marijuana in the privacy of my own home? So in other words, if the issue is about freedom and privacy, then what's the difference between the two of them? And I think, to me, that's a valid point, whether or not you agree with gay marriage or not.
Okay, 1 minute, sir. Let me just say this to you. You know, there's a lot of controversy when it comes to marijuana and being legalized. But the same way that anyone fights for what they believe in, then they have a right to go to the government and fight to legalize it if they think that the government will do it. Just like we fought for gay marriages.
And CBD oil.
Yeah, so no one is, saying that they're wrong. We're just saying that there's a way to do things.
And it's currently illegal. So that was the whole point that we made back to him. And it's not about freedoms, not just about the freedoms to do what you want, because in your own home. Because if we say that, then why is there even a law about fornicating with a minor? Not a minor, somebody under the age of 16. If we're going to talk about freedoms to do whatever we want in our own homes, why don't we push it and go even that far? Oh, Kathy, that's too far of a spectrum. It's not too far of a spectrum. It's exactly parallel to the marijuana and gay thing. It's an invalid point in my opinion. One is legal, one is not. That's it.
Okay. There's actually about 2-3 points there, and I'd like to address them. I think you are absolutely right in saying that if you want to fight about something, you should go to the government and fight about it. And you are absolutely right about that. In fact, I was going to preface my remarks by saying to you, I don't expect you to have the answer to this, because it is something that has to be addressed to the government. And I think what he was saying was that why is the government allowing those and not allowing us? Now, you yourselves, when you were fighting for gay marriage, I'm quite sure there are some people who told you, oh, but this is illegal. But what did you say? Rightly so. You said, well, it is illegal, but do you think it should continue to be illegal? You fought that fight and you won it. And that's all he's trying to say. Basically, I saw the point more as not being addressed to you as much, but rather in terms of those who make the legislation, to say, why are those people having their freedom? In my view, I would say that it's right that you have your freedom. I would also say, as much as I'm not a pot smoker or anything, I would say that those people who find that to therapeutic, whether it's legal or not, shouldn't they also have a law which legalizes it?
Well, first of all, caller, as a gay man in the Cayman Islands, I'm a Caymanian. I fought for the right to live openly as a gay person here. Personally, marijuana is my thing. It's never been my thing. And perhaps if it was, then I would approach the government and fought for what I want. But it's not my fight. So if this gentleman wants and believes that marijuana should be legal, then he has an obligation to go to the government and said, look, here's a petition.
And you are absolutely right about that. I agree with you. Yes, it's not for you to answer because you fought for what you wanted to fight for and you won it. It's not for you to answer, but I think let me just close on this because I think we have established what our views are. In my view basically is that yes, he should go to the government. I agree with you. He should go to the government and make the point. And in my book, if it is an issue about privacy, it is an issue about choices, he is free to go to the government to do that. In my view, I don't believe that there's a difference between the two. If you could be legal, which is right, I think he too should be allowed to smoke pot privately because that's also private. A choice he has, and he is free. He should be free to do that.
Well,
we're actually in agreement.
We should give him some fentanyl while we're at it. I mean, we have the RCIPS waiting next. They might have some in the locker room if they have any evidence for giveaway while we're at it. We can all do all the drugs, all the immoral, illegal, whatever acts we want because it's up to us. That's what I'm hearing, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay, thank you, caller, for your call. We're going to return back to the discussion. All right, now.
So we were talking about low self-esteem.
I'm glad you remembered where we left off.
Yes. You know, a lot of people that I've also dealt with, like come to us and ask for help and stuff like that. They're in really bad relationships, and I'm saying, well, why do you put up with this? Why don't you leave? Oh, my partner telling me I can't do any better. I'm as good as they're going to get. You can't find anyone better than me. No one wants you. All these different things that they're being told. So they end up doing, like you said, things that they wouldn't normally do, like bad sexual encounters or doing sexual things that they wouldn't normally do if they wasn't depressed and suppressed and all these different things. And sadly enough to say, it's happening to a lot of our young Cayman women. I see it a lot where a lot of our women are in these relationships where they're being mentally abused. And mental abuse can be worse than physical abuse in my books.
Yeah, absolutely. And in order to make wise choices, we generally need to be well emotionally regulated. And if we're not in an environment that's conducive to us being emotionally regulated, we are less likely to be able to make wise choices.
What does it mean to be emotionally regulated?
Emotionally regulated means that we are not in an environment that has our alarm centre in our brain turned on a lot of the time. So if we don't feel safe, if we don't feel free and safe, our alarm centre in our brain is turned on, which essentially is our fight, flight, freeze response, being there ready to kick into action at any given moment. When that's on, that stops us from using our frontal lobes, our wise mind. It means that actually our heart rate is well regulated. It means that our breathing is well regulated. It means that our body feels part of us. It means that we feel calm and relaxed, relatively content when we are emotionally well regulated. We might have an encounter with somebody that sends us slightly emotionally unregulated, but then we calm ourselves again. When we're in an environment where we're dysregulated an awful lot of the time, that's when it becomes a much bigger issue. If we've experienced trauma, then our alarm centres in our brain are turned on and much more of the time, and it makes it much harder for us to stay regulated.
And then it becomes a normal way of being.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I think we need to be more supportive than judgmental.
Absolutely.
People will look at people and say, well, look at her, look at him. He's in this crappy relationship, and if it was me, I would walk out. But it's not that easy. And instead of being judgmental, try and help. Try and help that person because obviously they need the help and support. It's going to take some time. It's just not something going to wake up tomorrow and say, I had enough of this and open the door and walk out through it, because they're living in that environment day after day.
Look how long it took for them to be, I want to say, stuck in that environment. It takes a long time for that breakdown to happen to that person. It's not overnight. And if it does happen overnight where you can escape a situation, that's absolutely amazing. But it's not overnight, and it takes a lot of grace. We have to give ourselves grace. It takes
strong will. I remember when I was in school, it's going back years, very shy, very timid. Somebody said, boo, I would just pull to the side and cry, and I got to a point in my life, and especially being gay never really helped the situation because I was constantly teased and mocked. And I got to a point in my life where I just decided I was worth more than that, you know, and it took me a long time. And right now I give as good as I get, sometime even more. But it's a process that you have to go through. If somebody said to me, I came out of school in 1985, somebody said to me, in 2021, who would have thought that you would have hosted the first gay pride in the Cayman Islands?
You never.
I would have never believed it would have been me, because I never saw myself as being that strong of a person. But here I am today. So it goes to show it's all down to the individual and the support and help that you get. My family's behind me. You know, I don't have that stress that people are afraid that they're going to lose their family, they're going to lose their loved ones, they're not going to have that support.
So let's go back to the support, because when it came to the Cayman AIDS Foundation and you had a support group, you said at that time there was only 2 people showing up. And now, am I right in saying there's no support group?
There's no support group. We have put it out there asking, you know, for people to, let's get a support group back up. No one wants to join because everyone is scared of the other person knowing that they are infected.
Dr. Besson, for you, do people come to you for therapy, or in regards to the subject that we're on right now?
Usually people don't come for therapy for this.
Okay.
Sometimes their LGBTQIA plus status is part of what we will talk about. But I've never had anybody come to me to say, I need therapy because I identify as this, or I have AIDS or HIV. No, it's treated as part of who they are. Sometimes it just takes one person to help you feel seen, to help you to regulate and then make wise choices. And that's what I attempt to do with those young people.
It all goes down to the embarrassment and the shame of coming to anyone for help if you're HIV positive, because you don't know what that response is going to be, whether it's a professional or not. In the back of their mind, I'm telling this person that I'm HIV positive. What if it gets out? What if people know? How it's going to affect me at my job? Will my job let me go? How would employees treat me if they know I'm HIV positive? Which is part of the survey we did. Would you tell your boss if you find out this person's HIV positive? You know, I had a person that...
Well, they test for that for work permit holders in Cayman.
Yes.
When you're coming here,
When
right?
you're coming
and then your
here.
annuals,
Yes.
right? But now they test for that, I assume, for a reason. So let's say I tested positive for HIV and it's a temporary work permit. Am I allowed to come into Cayman and work?
Immigration has
I thought it was no.
It was no at one point, but I've gotten a couple people approved here that their spouses work here, their husband or their wives come in under their work permits, that they're HIV positive. But immigration has sort of relaxed it a little, and it depends. And for the process that I have personally done, basically, as you know, you have to be a Caymanian or what we call a paper Caymanian to seek any type of medication through the HSA free from the government. So if, for instance, we were married and I was HIV positive and you decide you want to move here and I had to come on your work permit, I would have to then produce medical records showing that I've maintained my health and been on medication and I'm undetected. I would also have to prove to the Cayman Islands government that my country would in fact send my HIV meds here, that I would be able to sustain being healthy, and a couple other little things that they put into play. So if you can provide all of that, then the board would then look at it and decide whether they see it as a high-risk thing or not.
Now that's important because being able to get access to your meds.
Yes.
And if you were an expat coming here under a work permit or of a spouse, a dependent,
I mean, you can't
have to
win.
show that you're going to get your
Yes.
medication still.
You can't win them all because looking at it from the outside, and people have asked me this question, this type of ruling basically goes to persons that have money and can afford it. What about the persons that may be a waiter, a waitress?
Right.
Medical insurance is a huge key factor that plays a role. That plays a role here, and there's only various companies that will insure you. Some would even insure you to the max. So your insurance coverage won't even cover your medication if you were trying to get it here on island. So these people that are tested positive have to end up going home because they cannot go on medication and cannot look after themselves while they're here. So it's a big key factor thing. And like I said, there's a lot of changes. And yes, we have to protect our borders like anywhere else in the world.
Absolutely.
But for our own Caymanians here, I just, would like them to open their eyes and be more supportive and seek more information, we have given pamphlets and stuff to our local libraries. Go in there and grab a pamphlet and read up on stuff. Read up on HIV, how it's transmitted, HIV in drugs, HIV in alcohol, what's the effects. You know, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, or reach out to the HSA if you have any questions, because
attend a lecture, attend one of your lectures that you put on at different events. 2,000
invites to organizations asking them if we could do free lectures for their employees. There was only 2 that came back
that
allowed us to do it.
Come on, employers, you got to do that.
And it's like, you know, what can we do? We can't physically force them to do it because it's not a part of the law. So.
Right. We got to wrap up. We got to go to our next break here, and then I got to welcome our next guest.
No problem.
I'm sorry, because I feel
That's
like we could
okay.
do so much more time, and there's so much more to say. And I thank you both for coming on the show and talking. I know it's
thanks for having
like
us.
we said, it's a subject not everybody wants to discuss, right? So the more we can discuss it, we'd be happy to welcome you back anytime.
Oh, I'd just like to let everyone know
Yes.
that the Kim and AIDS Foundation office, which is 94th Street or 90 Mary Street, the financial building, we're hosting with the HSA today free testing, HIV testing today from 3 to 5. And on Wednesday, 3 to 5. So pop in and get tested. Know your status. It's important.
At your office?
At our office.
Okay, all right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money Transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any Multilink ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
For the record.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you.
For the record.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for Cayman's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
They say variety is the spice of life. And that's why at Subway, we are introducing the new boneless hot sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Prevention is key. Is your heart at risk? During the month of June, Baptist Health International is offering special pricing for cardiac CT scan for calcium scoring for just 99 CI to patients at high risk for heart disease, the leading cause of deaths worldwide. You are a candidate if you are 40 to 65 years old and have any of the following risk factors: obesity, current or recent smoker, family history of heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, or diabetes. To request an appointment or for more information, call 749-3304 or visit baptisthealth.ky.
You know you've dreamed of that Mercedes, the smooth leather, the style, luxury that feels so good. Ooh la la. With the prestigious 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200 up for grabs in this year's Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser. This is your chance to make that dream come true. Tickets are $25 for one, 3 for $65, or 5 for $100. Benzorama fundraiser tickets are available with Lions Club members and various sales outlets. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser supports numerous community initiatives, includes sightseeing, Christmas delivery, restoration, and social services.
The Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency wants your feedback on the draft National Climate Change Policy. The Cayman Islands is experiencing impacts of climate change, like sea level rise, changes to rainfall patterns, and temperature increases. A national climate change policy is essential to ensuring a strong economy, safe communities, and healthy ecosystems. Download the draft policy now at gov.ky/climate change policy. Send us your feedback by Friday, the 30th of June. Log on to gov.ky/climate change policy today to learn more.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Remember, you can give us a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp call us at 925-3261. And on this segment of Talk Today, I am welcoming to our studios Police Media Relations, Jody Ann Powery, and we also have Sergeant Michael Montague.
Yes.
All right. Welcome to Talk Today. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good, and thanks to have me here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming a little later while I could finish that earlier conversation, which got a little hot.
No, it's fine. It's a very important topic, so we're happy to allow you to finish your conversation and make sure that the information is out there.
Thank you, Jody. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Now, what are we talking about today? I know that there's a community event going on with RCIPS. So.
Yes, indeed so. And this is our 7th year, and we have an annual police football extravaganza on each year in the month of July.
Okay.
Sometimes we move it forward to June, just looking at the weather trend.
Right, which we have to do.
So we are conscious of that.
Okay.
But this year, it will be on the 3rd of July, which is next Monday.
So this is the extravaganza.
Yes. And attached to that is an expo.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the expo?
Well,
you got to tell me a little bit more, Mike.
Right.
The way you're saying this is expo, like I know. I have no idea.
Exactly. So it will be all the law enforcement agencies, our department represented on that day. So we're hoping to have the fire, police, prison, HSA, if possible. Or the emergency, as I say, law enforcement talking about emergencies,
right?
Yes, the CBC, and am I missing anybody?
Yeah, so the Cayman Islands Coast Guard is also going to be there, as well as the regiment, and their toys are going to be there as well. So it is a family event, so we want to make sure that it's as attractive for the children as possible. So they'll be coming out. The fire truck will be there, the regiment vehicles and so on.
So this is the expo,
yeah,
right?
So it's gonna be like a display of our law enforcement agencies, including the police and all the others that we mentioned.
And that's going to be held.
And it's going to be at the Seafa Field in Prospect.
Okay, nice, big area with a lot of parking.
Yes.
And that's next Monday.
Next Monday, the 3rd of July.
Okay,
yes.
so thank you for reminding me it was a public holiday.
Yes,
I was like, what time? That's weird.
Yeah, so it's going to be the day because it is
Kids are
Constitution Day. It's Constitution
Yeah.
Day, so it's going to be a holiday, and it's something to do with your family. So
It's a family event.
Everybody out.
But kids will love it.
They will.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, that's the expo, but is that part of the extravaganza? Because I thought the extravaganza was a ball.
Right.
Okay.
So,
yes. I've heard about this police ball, by the way.
Yeah. So we have what is called the Commissioner's Cup going on currently.
Okay.
And it's an interagency football competition. And by interagency, I mean like our various units within the police have come together to form 6 teams. Right. And it's been a very, very heated competition, Kathy. Like if you're there on the Tuesday nights when we play football, it gets really, really heated.
Are you playing too?
No, love.
No, that's okay.
The bones don't heal as they used to.
There's Tiger Balm for that. Some sea moss, We can take care of the inflammation or anything. Don't worry.
I didn't play this year. But yeah, we started on the 15th of May. And the 3rd of July, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be our final.
The final day.
So, yeah,
Okay.
the
So
two
Monday's also
finalists are going to, So the teams are respect, courtesy, integrity, professionalism, leadership, and trust.
Well,
those are the teams, the different teams.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me
Okay.
jump in here.
Let's clear that up.
Each of these, each department represent one of these.
Okay.
Yes.
So Bordentown, West Bay, CTF, which is our drug department, drug and serious crime, and then you have a team by the name of Sunshine Boys, which is officers from other division, more covert division.
More covert. I was gonna say, is this the ones that couldn't get on any of the other teams? Somebody doesn't really want them. Okay, all right.
No, they're a very good team.
Yeah,
This is your covert. That doesn't sound very covert anymore.
No. but this is so that's what we have, and each of them, each team embrace one of these values on their shirt.
Okay.
Because the team this year, as we reach out to the youths and the community, is to promote transformation in our youths.
Okay.
And hence we seek to use the core values equally at the same time where government is promoting a one-team culture.
Okay. Makes sense. But then I have a question because it sounded like there was a team called, was it Sunshine Boys?
Yes.
So which competency are they covering there? You said one of those core values, right?
Yes.
Or do they encompass all of them?
Well, when it comes together, we all encompass all the core values.
So those core values are the RCIPS core values, which is respect, courtesy, integrity, professionalism, and service. But they've also included leadership and trust, because those are our main aims, to instill leadership within our ranks, as well as to embody trust from the community.
And trust amongst each other.
And amongst each other.
How have you found that this inter-football league has helped that trust factor?
It all started because as the service, we wanted to look at something that would promote camaraderie and teamwork, and not just promote it, but also spread it throughout the service and in various ways. So what we find is that not only are the players coming together to form teams and interacting with each other, but they're interacting with other teams as well. And it's kind of like a social event every week when we come together, and we come out and support the people if we're not playing. I've been to the games, Kathy, and I'm a supporter, and I go and I watch, and a lot of our officers come out if they're not working, and come out to support the team as well, and lend a hand where we can. So it's meant to build a community within our service.
Excellent. We got to go to our 2 p.m. news headlines right now, but when we return after the headlines and commercial break, we will continue the discussion with the RCIPS.
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Cayman National Cultural Foundation grants for the arts are back for another cycle. For the chance to receive funding for an upcoming artistic project, send your application to ndurrant@artscayman.org by Monday, July 31st to be considered. For more information on how to apply, visit artscayman.org. In international news, the attacker who killed 5 people at an LGBT nightclub in Colorado last year has been sentenced to life in prison after pleading guilty to murder and attempted murder. Anderson Lee Aldrich, a 23-year-old, opened fire with an assault rifle at Club Q in Colorado Springs on November 19, 2022. The shooting was stopped by clubgoers who subdued the attacker until police arrived. The 5 dead ranged in age from 22 years old to 40. New evidence of China's spy balloon program, including flights over Japan and Taiwan, has been uncovered by BBC Panorama. Japan has confirmed balloons have flown over its territory and said it's prepared to shoot them down in the future. China has not directly addressed the evidence presented by the BBC. U.S.-China relations were thrown into turmoil earlier this year when an alleged Chinese spy balloon was shot down off the U.S. coast. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
You know you've dreamed of that Mercedes, the smooth leather, the style, luxury that feels so good. Ooh la la. With the prestigious 2023 Mercedes-Benz GLA 200 up for grabs in this year's Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser. This is your chance to make that dream come true. Tickets are $25 for 1, 3 for $65, or 5 for $100. Benzorama fundraiser tickets are available with Lions Club members and various sales outlets. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Benzorama fundraiser supports numerous community initiatives, includes sightseeing, Christmas deliveries, restoration, and social services.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio K-Man's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. You can give us a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp, call, or message us at 925-3261. And in studio from the RCIPS, I have Police Media Relations, Jody Ann Powery, and Sergeant Michael Montague. So, good afternoon. We were just talking about the big community event that the RCIPS is putting on next Monday, which is July 3rd, right?
July 3rd, yes.
Monday, July 3rd. It's a public holiday. We know this. You had to remind me, thank you. And it starts off with like an expo at Prospect.
Yes.
So if you go to Prospect Primary School, it'll be in the field there.
Yes.
There'll be an expo that's going to have, I think you mentioned the fire trucks.
Yeah.
The police cars.
Yes.
I don't know what else, but you said all their toys.
Yeah.
All the toys, the police dog.
Okay.
For the kids to interact. And to take
Inca.
pictures,
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, hopefully, we should have the police helicopter.
Okay, cool.
And the kids will be able, at the onset, to just go interact with officers at the different booths.
Right.
They will be sharing what they do and probably offer some information. Parents will also, in particular at the police booth, the community relation officers will be there. So they will give you different information about community involvement and how we set up community neighborhood watches and stuff that. And they will provide tips to the youths probably about drugs, vaping, different things.
Right.
They will have to share information with the youths to make sure that the youths have enough information to make wise decision or wise choice in life or choices.
And I feel like they have the info, but sometimes it's just peer pressure that gets to you as a young adult, really.
Yes.
Yeah. So what time is the expo starting on Monday?
Well, the opening
starts.
The opening starts at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And once we have probably about an hour of interaction, and give the teams time to come in, all the youth teams, them coming in that time of morning. Circle get final registration, and then we'll jump right into the games.
Oh, so it's more than one game that's happening.
Yeah, we are all, throughout that day, it will be games with the youths.
Okay.
So some of the law enforcement officers then will be playing against the youths. You might have mixed teams where officers and youth mix together, playing other teams, and then they get into the core games where...
What's that competition like when it's the officers against the youth? Because I can imagine very fast, kind of sprightly youth, and then I see officers like just trying to push them down instead to get to the ball.
Yeah, so this is
I see the dirty work coming from the police.
You'll have to come and see, Kathy.
I guess so, yeah.
Yes.
and the youths are very quick, agile, and
and
they understand football. So
it must be an interesting competition there.
That's what we're anticipating.
Whereas you guys have more of the knowledge, the police have more of the knowledge, the wisdom in their years of playing the game.
We do have quite a number of very, very good players within the service. Yeah,
I'm sure.
Quite a few of the players have played in like government leagues over the years, and some have even been on core football teams within the islands as well.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
the Cayman Islands Football Association, the men's leagues and whatnot. Okay,
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we have talent.
We
Kathy.
do. I know.
We do.
And equally across the spectrum, the fire have a lot of good footballers. Regiment has a lot of good footballers.
Yes.
The prison have a lot of good footballers.
Right.
HSA have a lot of good footballers.
My money's going to be on the regiment on a whole, I think. On a whole, I think when it comes to their fitness level.
They just have that look and feel.
My money's on the regiment. Yeah. They've been training like crazy.
Yeah.
Why in the marathon were they carrying crazy backpacks the whole time? I was
do you
this is the marathon.
Do you watch
the
Cayman Islands? Do you watch the videos that the Cayman Islands Coast Guard put out on social media about their training and stuff like that? Though,
no, not the Coast Guard. No.
Yeah, they're pretty intense as well. So
you think they'd give them a run for the money?
Yeah,
okay,
I do think so.
I want to see the competition between the Coast Guard and the regiment. Then. My money is still on the regiment. Sorry, Coast Guard. That's all good. So now what was the cup called?
Right. For law enforcement is the Law Enforcement Cup.
Okay, so now the bigger games of the night
Yes.
will be in the evening. So we have the youth games in the day.
Yes.
Then we have your bigger games, your law enforcement cup. It's not called the law enforcement cup.
We have
Commissioner's Cup.
Commissioner's Cup is internal within the RCIPS. And then there is a separate cup, which is the Law Enforcement Cup, where police will be playing against other law enforcement agencies. So that includes prison, HSA, fire, and Coast Guard and the regiment and CBC. Yeah.
So are we playing for both cups Monday night?
Yes.
Yes.
Two different.
I swear Michael said no.
Two different
we're
competitions.
not playing for both cups in the sense that the internal game only police departments playing for the Commissioner's Cup.
Right.
In that sense.
Mhm.
And then we have the law enforcement finals playing for the law enforcement.
Do we know who's in the finals for the law
Not as
enforcement?
yet. Some of those games still going on.
They're still going
Oh,
on.
okay.
So we have games going on in
So
the
we don't know
nights,
who's
tonight or
tomorrow night,
tomorrow night, okay.
Thursday. And
Okay, so you're still waiting to see who's in the finals then coming on Monday.
Yes.
Okay, nice. What about, because I remember we used to practice a prospect primary, and that was years ago. There was no bleachers or seating or anything like that. Do you know if there is any now, or will
There's
you be
bleachers
providing?
now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
And for the youth games that goes on at the CFA complex every day,
Mhm.
parents normally take their chair with them. So people take the chair and the umbrella, sit down, have a game.
Comfier seating. Makes sense.
Yes, just being entertained. And there will be food and refreshment. You know,
That was going to be my next question, because the kids are going to want some, I don't know, snow cones, something like that. So I don't know if that will be there. So anybody listening to me, don't ask them for snow cones, because nobody said it was going to be there but me suggesting right now on Talk Today. All right. That sounds like a really good time, a really good day, a good way to spend
We hope
Holiday
so.
Monday.
We hope so. And we
Yeah.
hope that the community comes out and support our initiative and our outreach. And bring your children and
A good way to strengthen relationship within the community.
Absolutely,
and have
we
kids,
hope so.
just people more trusting of law enforcement within the community. And there's also where you said you're going to be having some booths or for people to understand the neighborhood watch programs.
Mhm.
I think that's a big deal.
It is.
Considering, I don't know if you want to discuss the rise in crime that we're seeing,
Sure.
especially in the small burglaries and robberies.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
neighborhood watch is a big thing, I think, for me right now.
so I think that where crime is concerned, burglaries are actually really, really down compared to recent years. And it's been consistently that way. But I think the reason for that is because there have been so many community groups that have been developing over those years as well.
Now, when we say burglaries, it's specific home burglaries?
Right. So
Okay.
burglaries, a burglary is a break-in. So not necessarily a home break-in.
Okay.
But a break-in to any property.
Okay. So it could be a business.
So any trespasser going in to
Or a
commit a
car.
crime.
Okay.
Right. Versus a robbery where fear is introduced and there is contact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where fear is introduced?
Yes.
Force.
Fear and force, yes.
I think fear is introduced in both scenarios.
Immediate fear.
Okay.
And force, yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And you say it's been down.
Burglaries have
Burglaries
been
have
down.
been down, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Burglaries have been down, and I do definitely think that there is a correlation between the development of neighborhood watches and the work that our community police officers have been doing in our communities, and burglaries being down. And I think that it is extremely important, especially if there is a community that has experienced a recent burglary, to come out and find out about community neighborhood watches and how you can, as a community, develop that in your area in the event that you do have burglaries or other social issues within your community, because it's not just burglaries that's a problem. You know, there are some communities where there aren't any burglaries, but there are traffic issues, or there aren't any traffic issues, but there might be drug issues. So, yeah, and the community policing unit wants to know, you know, what it is that's happening in your community so that they can better help.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest, we have a lot of vehicle break-ins
Yes.
Yes.
So I think for that, I'm like, I feel like that has not been down.
No, that is definitely up.
Yeah.
But that's a vehicle break-in. That's a theft compared to a burglary.
Now,
sorry,
I live close to somebody. That's okay. It's good to explain it. No problem. Yeah. And it's your industry, so you know exactly how to phrase something and say it. Absolutely say it. Correct us if we need it. We'll take it. Right. It's how we all learn. Now there's somebody in my neighborhood who, for some reason, doesn't lock their door. Their car door has been broken into several times, and each time I'm like, "Was your door locked?" No. And then I'm like, well, I can't say anything because your door wasn't locked. To me, it's like an open invite, right?
Yeah.
So are we seeing that it's more like carelessness, I want to say, from vehicle owners?
There is quite a bit of that. So there's quite a bit of, persons that's just going around and like checking car doors, and the one that's there, that's open, that's the one that they're going to be searching through and stealing things from.
Right.
So, but there has been instances as well where glass has been broken to gain entry. But a contributing factor to all of those things is persons leaving valuable items like electronics, money, jewelry, whatever the case may be, tools.
Right, that's a big one.
Tools.
Please stop leaving your tools in the car, guys.
Well,
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I kind of, I kind of understand and I sympathize though, Kathy, because if that is your industry, if you're a construction worker and you go there and you do that every day, it's kind of difficult for you to unpack your vehicle every day and then go back and pack your vehicle again the next day. But you have to make sure that if you can't do that, and do you have storage inside for that kind of thing? You know what I mean? Based on the place that you live and all
alarm for your car as
well. But yeah, there are things that you can do, like making sure that where you're parked is well lit, that potentially maybe there are cameras around, something that would help you. One of the things that detectives have been struggling with a lot is we will conduct operation and do search warrants and we will find things, but a hammer looks like a hammer, and that there's no significant markings on the tools to say that you would be able to identify it as yours. Nobody keeps their receipts for their items. They don't record serial numbers or model numbers or stuff like that, So we want to encourage people to keep a record of the things that you have. Store your serial numbers and your receipts. Take a picture of it and just send it to your email. It'll be there forever and you'll forget about it. But when it comes down to it, when you need it, you'll have it.
Right. It's an important document. It's worth a lot of money. Protect your investment.
Absolutely.
We got to go to a commercial break. I'm a couple minutes late for the break. Sorry about that. So when we come back, we'll finish our conversation with the RCIPS.
Sure.
Freedom. Cayman Brack. Freedom. Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Homeowners, protecting your family and property is crucial during the season, and you should always assess insurance needs long before a storm makes landfall. Most insurers won't issue new policies or increases when a storm is imminent. Cayman Insurance Center's team of professionals can help owners like you find the most comprehensive coverage and competitive rates. Call the insurance professionals at Cayman Insurance Center 949-4657 or email info@cic.com.ky. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call Cayman Insurance Center's insurance professionals today at 949-4657.
Summer Swing Camp. It's that time of year again. Learn a lifetime skill, not a project. Unleash your creativity at Creative Fashion School for your sewing summer camp 2023. Develop a long life skill, a safe environment to express your creativity and meet new friends. Learn the art of sewing and more. Age 6 to 18. Enroll now for unforgettable 5-week summer camp experience. Camp start July 10th to August 11th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Cost is $250 per week. Material and snack included. Join us at Creative Fashion School for a summer filled with sewing fun and more. Call 9280344 or visit our website at www.thecreativefashionschool.com. See you there.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from July 9th through 15th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because
listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks, and we are on the last segment of our Talk Today show. We've had a pretty full day. I know we had some excited callers earlier that tried to call me back about a certain issue. Sorry we couldn't get to you guys, but I just hope that conversation made you really think about the stigma of HIV and why it's important to get tested and to support people on this island that may have it, regardless of your personal beliefs. Can happen to anybody. I'm here right now with the RCIPS, and we were just talking before our break about some tips. So we're seeing now, Jody did say that there's not a rise in burglaries in comparison maybe to this time kind of last year.
Yeah.
But there is in robberies a little bit.
Yes, there is a bit of an increase in robberies, and in particular what we've been noticing is that there has been quite a number, and I didn't bring numbers today. Sorry, Kathy.
It's okay. We didn't know we were going to do this. So okay.
Quite a number of firearm-enabled crimes along with that as well.
Okay.
So especially like over the weekend, there have been 2 reports, one of an attempted robbery and one of an actual robbery. The robbery was firearm-enabled. And then there was an incident at a bar in Shedden Road as well this morning. The PRs are coming out for that, so you can look out for that today.
Right. Yeah, that's very unfortunate what happened with that bar incident as well.
Yes.
So hopefully, I don't know the details of it. So I don't know. Can you get into any details about that?
No, I don't have any details about that incident, but I do know that a press release should be coming out today. My colleagues are working on it right now as we speak. They're gathering the information because it's still active. There were still police officers at the scene up to this morning. So,
and it can be dangerous to report about things where we don't really know factually exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
So
yes.
We will wait to find out from you guys what the details are, and then and then go on from there. So. We were talking about ways to just, especially in your neighborhood, how to stay a little safer.
Yes, but definitely take extra. I think this is where we're getting at. Take that extra step to make sure that you protect your items, whether it be putting alarms on your cars or, you know, parking them in a specific place, on offloading your valuables, especially like your tools and stuff, if you have that capacity to do so, but keeping records of your valuables. Right. Not just the tools, but like jewelry, for instance. I can't tell you the amount of times that we've had like burglaries or robberies where, or even a car break-in where like family heirlooms were stolen. Right. Those are things that are priceless. You can't put a price tag on those.
Right.
But you know, if we have a chance of recovering it, the best way to do that is to be able to show us exactly what it looks like.
Right. Or as you said,
and to be able
how
to,
you bought it.
Yeah.
Especially as it's credit card. I don't know about debit card, but credit card.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're insured often by the purchases you make on your credit card.
Yeah. And keep your receipts.
Yes. It's there's little tiny ways like that. I know you mentioned earlier, Jody, that in some neighborhoods, or, you know, we're trying to tell people have a well-lit area. There's more cameras around. I can tell you where I live. People have done that. Like, I'm glad I don't need a camera because every single one of my neighbors has a camera.
Yeah.
Very effective. The lights are coming.
Those doorbell cameras have been invaluable to investigations. And they are so inexpensive, some of them. And they're easy to install. They work off of the Wi-Fi, and you get like instant notifications to your phone if there's like movements and stuff like that. And I can only tell you about like what my features have.
Right.
And you know, you can talk to people that are like at your front door from wherever you are.
I need that one because boy, come try me. And meet with me on the camera.
So yeah, you know, those things, they definitely assist in an investigation, and I think that we need to move away from the frame of mind where that happened to that person down the road. It couldn't happen to me. If it happened down the road, it could definitely happen to you. It can definitely be you.
It's a lot more closer proximity.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because you know, crime is not prejudiced to anybody.
No.
So
I got a question here for you, Jody.
Sure.
We had somebody WhatsApp us and say, when will the police be having public meetings again? So I don't know if this is district public meetings, which I assume, but I guess there was a time. Now, is this something that you guys would do often, every quarter?
So we have a new superintendent of police who is in charge of community policing.
Okay.
Superintendent Roger Williams.
Okay.
And I do know that community meetings are one of the things that he wants to regulate in different areas. And I can organize for him to come back and have a discussion about his plans. But I can't speak specifically about the when, but I do know that that is something that has been in the works. And I know that because I actually delivered a public speaking training to the CPD staff for this reason recently.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
We only got a couple minutes left, so I want to know if there's anything you want to wrap up with and let our people know maybe about the big extravaganza happening Monday.
Yes, it's going to be an exciting day, and it's all day. It's food and fun and fellowship. So we're encouraging parents to bring out the kids, come sign up early. We can still register a few teams to get involved. And, you know, we have one or two of our school liaison officer who is in the schools will be also who is involved in the tournament and running, also overseeing the running of the tournament. They can come out and have fun playing football with their school liaison officer, you know, and we could never ever do this without our sponsors.
Of course. Let us know who they are.
And so we have Burger King, who take a major role in our sponsorship this year. Then we have the National Cement, Jane Money Transfer, Macross, Credit Union, Vamp Motors, Car City, Refuel Gas, Cost You Less, Security Centers, Kirk Supermarket, Cell Distributors, Fossil Supermarket, and Tortuga Rum.
That's pretty good.
Currently at this stage.
Well, so there's more coming possibly. Thank you for the support. It's excellent. So that's a big community extravaganza and day of football, and that's held by the RCIPS. Yeah. Really, I mean, we could say the other law enforcement agencies, but I'm really giving you guys the credit right now.
We actually want to thank the other law enforcement agencies for always being so willing to partner with us and come out and have fun with us. Professionally, they've also been very key in a lot of things that we do, and their support is greatly appreciated.
Excellent.
And across the spectrum is one team, one mission, one culture.
I like that. I do. Yes. Monday, 10 a.m. it starts at Prospect Primary Field.
The CIFA complex.
The CIFA complex. Yes. This whole time I've been like, it's the Prospect Primary Field. Nobody listened to me. The CIFA complex. Yes. It's not at the primary.
Prospect.
It's
in
at
Prospect.
Also, CIFA complex in
right
Prospect.
Next to Prospect Primary.
Yo, you didn't hear me saying this earlier. I kept saying Prospect Primary.
I thought you said Prospect. I didn't hear Prospect Primary.
I think I stuck in the primary. Okay. That's okay. Now we know it's at the CIFA field. Do not go to Prospect Primary on Monday.
And we could never ever do this without the blessing of the CIFA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you to the Cayman Islands Football Association as well.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon, and we'll have you on soon again. Yes.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll find out about the district meetings, the public meetings.
You know, before I go, I want to also mention, Kathy, that it's going to be a very, 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 very busy weekend.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I want to mention one thing in particular. There will be road closures on Friday between 9:30 and about 10:30, maybe for an hour, short road closures, and then again at 1:30 to about 2:30, and this is for the lane in state of the late Captain Kirkconnell, who will be at the LA lane in state between 10 and 2 on Friday.
Which roads are
4th Street in Georgetown by House of Parliament.
Right, 4th Street will be closed.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, of course, on Saturday, between 11 and 6, there will be a rolling road closure from Harbor Drive. Is that Seafarers Way now? Seafarers Way.
Yes. Part of it, yes.
Yes. On all the way to Public Beach. And that's going to be a rolling road closure. So as the parade passes...
Remember, it's K-Mass this weekend.
Yes, K-Mass.
If you are going on the road on Saturday, please do it very early, because you will be very frustrated at West Bay Road being closed from Public Beach all the way down to Seafarers Way. But as Jody was saying, as the parade does pass, the last band that is passing,
yes,
they'll slowly open that section of the road that is,
and Esther Tibbetts will be wide open for people who are not participating in K-Mass to use Esther Tibbetts to go to West Bay or back and forth from West Bay to
my suggestion is do what you got to do early.
Yes.
Yes. The rest of us revelers out there are going to be running like mad on the road trying to get ready and try to be on the road somewhat on time. Why does it start so early? It's way too early for Carnival in the day now. No, man, this has to be a nighttime thing. That's my can we start at 3, 4? Jeez. All right, that's it. That's today's show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
That's great. I'll be back on tomorrow. So maybe some of those callers that needed to say what they got to say, you can call me back tomorrow. I'll be on Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.